Man, I tell you, this is a mess. So now that all the seals are on and everything, and I've started to put the flipper on for good, now it doesn't want to operate correctly when I tighten all the screws down. So it's getting close. It needs a little bit more, which I know I can get adjusting the wing window right here. So I'm going to show you another adjustment that can cause your flipper to be stuck out a little bit where it's not quite going all the way, and it's right here on the wing window. So the wing window frame at the back right here is actually coming in contact with the flipper because there's an adjustment on that and they don't have it set up right. So that wing window, if you look across that, you'll see it's kind of like this part's going this way and then it straightens off. This part right here is adjustable this way or this way, and the adjustment is right here. So there's a stud that comes through here, and that stud is adjustable in and out, and right there it's binding up before it even gets to the door. It only had a couple of threads on a bolt, and when I took it loose it popped back. So this thing's all bound up. So I climbed in here looking. It doesn't even have the correct hardware. I don't know what they've got rigged up here. That is something somebody's rigged up, so that's not an accurate part. So I'm gonna dig in my slide tray and replace it. So anyway, all this crap's got to come out of here. So then I come up here and looked here. So there's supposed to be a screw in the frame to the door, but also they don't have the right screws in here. These look way too small to me. So I was like, wow, that looks funny, and I was like, this one's sticking out further. Check this out. I just pulled that out by hand. It wasn't even tight or anything. That is not the accurate screws for that. This screw is for the wing window frame up here. So, man. And I still need to drill the hole in the trim that they didn't put in, but I tell you, I give them an A for effort for coming up with this little adjustment here, but it's sticking way out and stuff. I don't even know what the heck that is. But anyway, I need to adjust this wing window to bring the top toward this way a little bit more. So when I adjust that, see how far away it goes? So I need the correct bolt in there. And then once that is adjusted where it needs to be, I need to roll the window up, and I need to look across the top of the window frame here and make sure that's in line, because if that window is going crooked into that, that's also a problem. And to straighten this out is this adjustment right here, which also doesn't have the correct hardware in it. So it's supposed to have a lock plate here, an oval stainless or chrome piece here. I mean, this will work. It'll do what it needs to do, I guess, but it's supposed to have a rubber seal and then a metal plate that goes on there, and it's actually, you know, for wind and stuff like that. So I don't know if I have any of those, so I'm just going to kind of leave what they did here for now, but this will have to be adjusted as well. But I have the flipper on there, and I put it on the first time, and I did no washer, single washer, double washer, single washer, no washer, just like I did on my hardtop, and tightened it down and it wouldn't work. The back stayed flipped out when I closed the door. So I loosened all the center screws off, and it started getting to where it was working a little better. So I took the flipper back off, and I triple stacked the two up here, double stack these, and no stack here. So I may have to put one single washer at the back or maybe one at the front. So the flipper's been off and on a couple of times already, and this is why it takes so long to get these adjusted. So yesterday when I was mocking it up, there was, you know, no seal or nothing. It was just on there to you know, make sure that I could get them to work right. But so now I need to get all this adjusted and change out some hardware, so now I get to dig for the correct stuff. Alright guys, I couldn't find the part I needed for that. I have one here, but it's the short one. They have short ones and long ones, and so this one I have will not work. I did go ahead and use a star washer and a factory nut on here, so I basically adjusted their their stuff there, and I got the wing window pretty much adjusted where it needs to be. So at that point I grabbed hold of the window crank to roll the window up. The window's been down the whole time, and I went to roll it up and it wouldn't roll up. So I give it a little heave-ho, and it actually stripped out this old window crank. It stripped out the inside of that. So I grabbed another window crank and put on here, and I was starting to roll it up, and it was just really hard to roll up, like it's in a super bad bind. So anyway, I got up in here and got to looking. I don't know if you can see that down there on the bottom of the track up there, but that's a roller that's supposed to be in that track right here, and it's out at the bottom. So there's the main reason why the window doesn't want to roll up or down correctly. That's awesome. So I'll have to mess with that. What a mess, man. Anyway, I need to dig out the correct hardware and put in here and bolt all this stuff in, but this is like every time I start working on one thing, it ends up turning into a big fiasco, and it's just taken hours to try to diagnose all this crap. But the other problem is the door right here has been bent. This right here is bent up against the glass. It's touching the window. All of the rollers and the guides are missing. There's window stops that go on here that stop the height of the window. There's also a roller missing. And I know this stuff for certain was on the car, and it was brand new because I installed it like 15 years ago when the car was a daily driver. So these guys have lost all of that stuff. It's not here, so I'm gonna have to have Steve order all that stuff. But I need to pull the door glass out, and I need to bend this out to get it off of that window. So I don't know how they did that. Maybe they dropped the door when they took it off the car at one point. I don't know. My goodness, what a mess, man. So Steve brought me this car. I want to say it was probably about 15 years ago, and it was an electric window car from the factory, and that's why this is cut out right here. Anyway, none of the windows worked on the car, and he wanted manual stuff put in it because he was tired of messing with electric window stuff. So I bought all new window regulators and everything from Dan Chuck and put it all in, and I know those rollers and stuff and the stops were in there because I bought it all new. And I had everything working really nice, and then he took it to that shop and they took it apart. But so all that stuff's missing. He's going to buy it all again, and it's not on over there either. So that kind of sucks, man. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this window out and try to reset that track, get this door pulled out. But I mean, if it's not one thing, it's another, you know what I mean? This is kind of crazy, but I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad I'm working on it because, you know, it's the only way it's going to get fixed. So I pulled the wing window frame, the top of it, angled it in by that adjustment down there. Now the flipper's closing completely even, so that was perfect. So now I need to make sure the track on the main door glass itself is set up right, and that's that adjustment right down here. So that is how you get this window, the top in or out is from that right there, that slotted adjustment. So I'm gonna go ahead and have him get the correct hardware kit for this too. They sell that. So there's going to be quite a few pieces for him to buy. Luckily the stuff's not super expensive, you know, those stops and the rollers and all that stuff. It's not that expensive. It just kind of sucks that that stuff was already new and in here and now it's not. That's a real shame. But I need to check my phone. I don't know what time it is. It's got to be getting pretty late. But so I've got a flipper on and mounted on this side. Now I need to finish up all this stuff. But now I got to pull the window out, and I'm never even going to make it to the other side because I can't get done with this side. Alright, so I rolled the window down so I can get to the screws to take the window out. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So you get the window down, you got an oval slot here, and if you look down in there you'll see a Phillips screw. They're supposed to be two side by side. Another Phillips screw right here, again, supposed to be two. So it's missing two screws out of here, and I have a slide tray full of those. These are threaded screws. So I have these. Sometimes they're regular dome oval head screws with star washers, and sometimes they're countersinks. So sometimes there's one on each end. So I'll get these out and check it out. But anyway, I have to pull these Phillips screws out, and then at that point I can pull the window up and out of the car. I've got to take off these 2 screws right here, lift up this piece. It has 2 ears that are up underneath this piece. I'm going to loosen this one, but I'm going to take these 2 out. So you pull this up and then you slide it out, and that allows the glass to come straight up out of the car. So I'm going to do that right now. That's the screws I just pulled out of that. That is a wood screw. That's awesome. That's a correct screw right there. So, no, yes. Golly. Oh my gosh. What the hell, man? So what I'm noticing is the window felt runner right here is crushed down in there. Where the window rides in here, it's smashed in. So that's what's causing this to be in a little bit of a bind. But my goodness gracious, that shouldn't be that hard to get out of there. These little raised indents right here, this is what your bottoming stops run into. This is what controls the height of the window to keep it from going too high. More awesome goodness right there. That is a coarse thread screw and a fine thread hole. Again, incorrect hardware. The rear liner's still good in the track. I think I'm the one that glued those in 15 years ago. So that one's still good. Oh, well, there's the other problem right there. It's missing the rear track. There's supposed to be a track here, a little short one. It's gone. That is frustrating. I hope they have those reproduction, because those are hardtop only. Sedans are different length. I went through this on my car. Mine were missing. I had a couple of parts doors out back off the hardtop, and they were in there. Matter of fact, Steve has a door at his house. I think it's off that side. I'll have to hit him up about that. Maybe that track's still in there, I don't know. Golly, what a mess. More parts needed. Alright, let's try to bend this door out where it's supposed to be. the odd pliers, but luckily I had something here that worked. Okay. Got the flanges a little tweaked out in places, so I'm going to straighten that up. That's not factory equipment either. I've dug about 6 of these out of the car today already when I cleaned it out. Hey, look what I found at the bottom of the door. How cool is that? This is the part that was missing. That's supposed to go right there. So, I actually have a screw. Oh. Screw's in there, but it's not screwed on. I'll just have to be taken off and put that on there. There's a nut partially on the back of that. What the hell, man? It's not supposed to have a nut on the back of it. These are the nuts on this. These are threaded. So luckily that was in the bottom of the door, so that's pretty awesome. I dug out 2 screws and a bunch of wads of masking tape out of there, just little small wads of masking tape. So I'm going to go ahead and clean those tracks up and re-grease them, and go ahead and I'm going to have to pull this liner out of here and try to straighten it up. Alright guys, so this short track, it has nuts in it, and one of them, the threads, is really messed up on, so I'm going to have to clean this with the thread tap. I dug out 4 correct screws to put in it. I mean, it only takes 2, but I dug out 4. Alright, so I cleaned these up in some Purple Power degreaser and got rid of all the stuff in there, and there's this track right here. This track's got a bad spot in it right here. This end's peeled up. I might have to straighten on this track a little bit. To be continued. Alright, so this track, you can see that. It's got a messed up spot in it right here. So what I'm going to attempt to do is, I've got this, it's a piece of plate that I've done some cutting on before. I haven't cut on this yet today. And I'm going to kind of edge this off with my roll-lock disc, all 4 sides, so it's a little bit smoother. But this is the correct size to fit inside of this. I mean, for the most part, for a dolly is what I'm going to use it for. So this way I can run that down in there, and then I can hammer on this edge and try to get this straightened up, because this thing is, it's kind of kicked in and it's rolled in right here, so this needs a little bit of work. So I'm going to have to straighten this. I could probably buy a new one, but I don't think I'll spend much time trying to straighten this one. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. The rollers will work, but I don't want this roller, plastic roller, to get bound up in a spot on there and then break off. So I'm going to try to straighten this up to where it's a little bit better and smoother. Alright, so I edged off those pieces of that steel and I run it down in there. It fits in there pretty snug, so I had to hammer it in like that. But I got it in there, and then I laid it down on the floor, and I went through here and kind of did that number. Our battery died. Alright, so I went in there and I kind of dollied this. It's not perfect, but I got it a heck of a lot better than it was. So these rollers, the edges are really thin, so there's a lot of slack in these. So it'll be just fine. I just didn't want a nice, or not nice, but I didn't want a bad dip in it to get that in a bind and break it. So it straightened it out pretty good, so I'm pretty confident it'll work pretty good now, but definitely better than it was. Alright, so I'm going to grease these tracks and put them back in there. I'm going to degrease these rollers, clean them up real good, and then re-grease everything. So I need to clean them screws up on the wire wheel a little bit on the threads, so I got a little bit of work to do before installation. Alright, so I had a spare set of these wing window liners, felt liners in my shed. Sure is nice having spare parts. The one that was in here, down toward the bottom, this was all crushed in, so that was probably part of why the window was hard to roll up and down. Not to mention, one roller was out and this rear track was completely off. So this is going to have to be installed in there. Now, usually these are riveted in the wing window frame. What I think I'm going to do is just glue them in with the little weather strip adhesive, just so I don't have to pull all this crap out. The weather strip adhesive will hold it. It'll do the same thing. These ones I have are a little longer than what come out of here, but there's plenty of room for it to hang down there, so it ain't going to hurt nothing. I'm going to go ahead and get some glue on this. I'm going to have to clean the inside of that track up, and then I'm going to glue this in there and go ahead and try to put the window in. Well, another interesting. So this is the trunk key. This does not fit the door. They've got these locks backwards. The lock is where you put the key in is upside down. I don't know if they've got the left on the right or the right on the left. I'm assuming that's what it is, but I can't test these to see if they're locking and unlocking because there's no key. So it does have an ignition key in it, but that's an aftermarket street rod style CS7 ignition switch, so it's not the same. This is a GM stamp key, but this key is brand spanking new, so what I'm thinking is that's a brand new trunk lock, and that's all that they had was a new lock for the trunk and don't have door locks. So I don't know whether to, I guess I could pull that lock out of there. So it's a little bit spooky right here. I don't know if I can show you guys this or not. Get the camera focused here. So around this lock, I see a little bit of, I don't know what it is. You can see it in the clear. It's a few little lines going out. So I don't know if when he was putting that in there, he got a little too rough with it. I don't know. But I kind of feel with these backwards, they're not going to work correctly. I mean, they might with the key going upside down from the way they're supposed to be, but I'd like to pull them both out and check them out. And when you pull these locks out of your trunk and your doors, when you pull them out, on the pawl on that lock, if you clean it up, there will be a, usually I think it's a 4-digit number if I remember right. So you can check it to see what your code is, and with that code you can go to your locksmith, local locksmith shop, and they can cut you a key off that code. So I don't know if Steve's going to want a trunk key, a door lock key, and then an ignition key. I'm kind of thinking right now it'd probably be best to get a trunk and door set with one key, and then you'll have one ignition key and then one door and trunk together key. So what a mess. I don't have another set here of these, or I'd get them to him, but anyway. I kind of wanted to fix the door lock before I did the window, because once the window's in there, the window will be in the way of me messing with this. So kind of just stuck at this point. Dang it. Check out this high quality reproduction part. So I put the glue on there and I went to stick it in there, and when I pushed, this stainless bead started coming off sideways, and I grabbed hold of it, and you can just pull it right off like it's nothing. Alright, this piece is junk. So this is the other one. I had a pair of new ones. So anyway, I pulled on the edges on that one, and that one didn't do anything. So the other one's good, so I put it in there. But so I took the bent one out, I'm gonna throw it away, and then I got one that the stainless bead's peeling off of, so I'm gonna throw 2 away. So between 3 pieces, there was one good one that he needed. Hopefully the one on the other side's still good. Man, what a mess. All right, it's about 4:45 p.m. I cannot believe I've been on this all day. Haven't got hardly anything done for all of the mess I had to fix. So, man, there's a lot going on here. So, I got the window tracks put back in, I got the window screwed back in, and I have all 4 screws holding the window track in like it's supposed to, instead of like 2 that it was. The window is a little bit hard to roll up, and the only thing I can think of, this rear window track is all the way back as far as it'll go. The only thing I can think of is this wing window is too far this way. So I guess tomorrow I'm going to have to pull the stainless back off up here and pull this piece off. I'm going to have to look and see if they even got the wing window frame screwed to the door, because I don't know if they do or not. If the wing window frame is not screwed to the door post, right here's a little bitty post on this hardtop door. If it's not screwed to it, this will be out a little bit, and it'll cause this to be hard to roll up and down. So I'm hoping that's what the problem is. So I'll have to pull their screws out here probably, or at least loosen them. I need to loosen these up so I can have some adjustment for that to go. But anyway, there's supposed to be a screw on this to the door, and it's not on there. And I shined a flashlight in there, and I don't even see the hole in the stainless there where that's supposed to screw into the door. So I may end up, that's what makes me think this needs to go forward. Maybe it needs to go forward a little bit, and then I could see the hole or something. I don't know. If not, I'm gonna have to drill a hole. But this has turned into the biggest crap show, man. I'll get it. It's just going to take a little bit more, you know, looking into. But I mean, hell, if half the stuff ain't in there and they got a wood screw in here and stuff, I am just about betting that that wing window frame is not even bolted to the front of it's not bolted to the door post. So I'll have to pull all this apart. But I am out of time today. But anyway, once I can get that to happen, if it does go forward, that'll make the window easier to roll up and down. Now, the only thing I can think of at this point, if that wing window frame is bolted to that post, the only thing I can think of is this aftermarket glass. This is a new window frame and window. And the only thing I can think of is this glass is too long, just a little bit too long, because it doesn't even mate up here. So if this was narrower, you know, that glass wasn't as long, this would meet up here better. So that could be the issue, is the glass, the reproduction glass is just too wide, or they didn't get this frame hammered onto the glass far enough. So I don't know, I'm just gonna have to look at it. But this glass has a little chip in it right there, and it's already delaminating. You can see the delamination right there. So anyway, there's gonna have to be some further investigation, but I am out of time for today. But what a big crap show. Thanks for watching.